Welcome back to another episode of our Kings related podcast, wherever you may be. And on today's episode, we are talking about the not so top secret thing in the room regarding the Kings, and that is the point guard. Breaking news, the Kings need a point guard. They don't have one. They had two pretty good ones in Tyrese Halliburton and De'Aaron Fox. You traded Tyrese part of that Sabonis trade. And then you traded Fox this past season, and now the Kings are in search of a point guard for the long term going forward, because I don't know if you realize this, you kind of need a point guard to play in the NBA, and the Kings, since they traded Fox, they had no point guard, true point guard on this team. They tried Malik Monk, that did not work out. So what are the options for the Kings this offseason going into next season? But first, before we get into today's episode, please, if you're watching this on our Kings related YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. Give this video a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below. Be much appreciated. It just helps us out here to spread this channel to more people. The Sacramento Kings, in search of a point guard, when you had pretty damn good ones in Halliburton and Fox, as it stands right now, the internal options for Sacramento are, you got Keon Ellis, who is currently listed as the starting point guard, but he's not a starting point guard, in my opinion, in the NBA. He's best suited as a guard coming off the bench in most depth charts going forward. He's traditionally an off-ball guard. Second, Devin Carter, who will be in his second year after being drafted with the 13th pick. He is primarily a backup point guard, so he's not a starter. And then you got Markelle Fultz, who the Kings signed late last season, mid-season, to fill that void left by Fox. I don't think he will be back next for this upcoming season, but we shall see. The Kings have been, if you've been out there online, all those rumors and innuendos, the Kings have been actively looking to add a top-tier point guard this offseason. I think they will do it via the trade market, because if you look at the free agent class this offseason, it's not a great free agent class. There's some guys who may intrigue me. Like, I am a big fan of Tyus Jones, who just spent this past season with the Phoenix Suns. But there was a rumor this past week about Cleveland Cavaliers guard Darius Garland, who many, if you want to believe the rumors or not, is the preferred target of this new front office led by Scott Perry. Garland, who just recently had toe surgery, that could delay the start of his season. He just had surgery, June 9th, 4 to 5 months recovery time. So Garland may not be ready for the start of next season. Then you got Trae Young of the Atlanta Hawks, who is also in the mix through options involving Darius Garland, again, who may be the favorite. Other names include Marcus Smart, who was just with the Memphis Grizzlies. That has not worked out. You got Drew Holiday, a veteran, Boston Celtics, brings that championship pedigree. Ja Morant, who I believe that will not happen, because I think the Kings will have to give up a King's ransom if you want to get Morant out of Memphis. And again, this last name, Tyus Jones, if you want to go through the free agent market, though none of those names have advanced so far. Free agency hasn't even began yet. We are still in the NBA Finals. I do not like. I think Trae Young's a really good player, amazing shooter, but if the Sacramento Kings, if you run out a backcourt of Trae Young and Zach LaVine next season, it is going to be like shoot around. Anybody can score on that backcourt because Zach LaVine, not a great defender. Trae Young, not a great defender. Both can shoot the lights out. But if you roll out both Trae Young and LaVine next season, your defense is horrible. So that's why I do not like the Trae Young aspect of these rumors. But until a major move is made, I think the starting point guard role likely remains Keon Ellis, even though he's more of an off-ball guard. And then you got Devin Carter as his backup. And then externally, Scott Perry in this front office, if they want to make a blockbuster trade that brings in a bona fide all-star lead point guard like a Darius Garland, see, that's what if you bring in a guy like Darius Garland, I actually love this. I would actually love this move if the Kings brought in Darius Garland. If you just look at I know the playoffs, he was plagued by injuries this season in the playoffs, and we really didn't see the best of Darius Garland. But Darius Garland, he is a really good point guard. And you look at what many in Cleveland would say that core four. He's part of that core four of Garland, Mitchell, Jared Allen, and Evan Mobley. But this past season, Darius Garland earned his second All-Star selection. He averaged 20 points per game, over 6.5 assists, and 75 starts this season. He helped lead the Cleveland Cavaliers through that top spot in the Eastern Conference. He's an elite efficiency shot maker. He shot 0.472% field goal rate percentage, 0.401 in 3 points, and 0.878 in free throw percentage, nearing that 50, 40, 90 benchmark. And Darius Garland was among the league leaders in assist rate this past season. And you look at that pick and roll, the clutch play. His head coach this past season, Kenny Atkinson, who won Coach of the Year, even mentioned that he liked that Garland likened his game to Sixers guard Tyrese Maxey with that elite speed, excellent passer, and he was unique in that he can shoot off of the three, and also he's got that confidence with the clutch gene. One moment it was that buzzer-beating logo three versus the Pistons. He was consistent in late game delivery. I think if you traded for a guy like Darius Garland, you pencil him in now with Zach LaVine, and then you got Keegan Murray at 3. If you can move Sabonis to the 4 and get a center athlete with size and length to play at the 5, I think the Kings upgraded their starting lineup for this upcoming season. But the impact that Darius Garland made on this Cleveland Cavaliers team this past season under first-year head coach Kenny Atkinson, Garland reemerged as the team's floor general. That's what the Kings missed post-Fox trade. Fox was the Kings' floor general through his years here in Sacramento. Garland, he rediscovered his confidence this past season. And then you look at that supporting cast that Cleveland has with guys like Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen, Max Strus. Like Garland's playmaking role on that team with that cast, amazing. I know a lot of it was a little um, plagued by injuries in the playoffs this past year because of the toe injury. Garland only played 5 playoff games for the Cavs because of those injuries. He averaged 18 points per game. And then in that second round exit to the Indiana Pacers. So again, had surgery this past week on June 9th, 4 to 5 months recovering. So if you look at that, maybe November at the earliest is when we probably won't see Garland on the floor. But who knows if Cleveland will even trade Darius Garland, because again, he's part of that core four there in Cleveland with Mitchell, Mobley, and Allen. But if the Kings did, and also you got Darius Garland signed through for the next 3 seasons, and he's a little cheaper than Trae Young. I think his defense is better than Trae. He's not the player that Trae Young is, but I do like Garland more than Trae Young. And this past year was a clear reestablishment as one of the elite guards in the NBA. Put up those high level numbers, floor leadership, and those clutch minutes. And the Kings need somebody who can live in those clutch minutes now that you don't have your old clutch player who's now in San Antonio. So I really like if you can pull off a Garland trade this offseason for Sacramento. And I think that DHO game with Sabonis, it's not going to be like with Fox. It's going to be different. But I would love to see what that DHO game with Garland and Sabonis looks like this season if the Kings did pull off that blockbuster trade for Darius Garland. Trae Young, if the Kings pulled off that move, I'm not a big fan of it. A really good offensive player, but not a great defender in Trae Young. He led the NBA in assists, over 11.5 assists a game. He set the Hawks franchise record with over 880 assists this year, averaged 24 points per game. Really good player, but I just don't see how the fit. I know he probably fits what Doug Christie wants to do with shooting the three and all, but again, living in an age of the NBA where it's all about the three ball. But at some point, you got to play defense, and the Kings have got to get better on that defensive end of the floor. And in my opinion, Trae Young does not bring that side of the ball with him. Bottom line is there is no clear cut right now that next point guard of the future for the Kings. We got the draft coming up on, I believe it's the 25th and the 26th. No clear cut point guard locked in yet. Kings don't have a first round pick because the pick went to the Atlanta Hawks because of that Kevin Huerter trade. For now, if they don't get a point guard, it's Keon Ellis, Devin Carter, and if you bring back Markelle Fultz. But the Kings, I believe they will make a move this offseason. There's even rumors about the Kings moving up in the draft. But if they go out and they make a move for a point guard, I believe it will be in the trade market. And if they can put a good enough package together to upgrade in the forms like a Darius Garland, a Trae Young, LaMelo Ball. We've heard so many names rumored about the point guard position here in Sacramento. You just need another high quality point guard who can run the team, be that floor general, who can shoot, play a little defense. Because I believe the Kings need to be a defensive first team. I am a true believer that you take on the identity of your head coach And if you go back and watch Doug Christie in his playing days, Doug Christie, he wasn't a great offensive player, but he was a really solid defensive player to get up into the nose of players, play defense. And I think that's where the Kings have got to go, is be a defensive first team. And we shall see where the Kings end up this season and who they go with as the point guard, because if you don't have a point guard in this league, it's pretty much hard to win. And we saw it late in the season when the Kings did not have a true point guard. It was messy with Monk running the point guard. So we shall see where Scott Perry and this front office goes this offseason to fill that point guard position, because the Western Conference is going to get even more tougher next season with teams improving from the previous year. So who will be the Kings' next point guard as we head into next season? Let me know in the comments down below. Would you like to see the Kings swing for a blockbuster trade involving a guy like Garland, Trae Young, LaMelo Ball? I know there's rumors about John Morant. That's going to take a Kings ransom to get May involved, including Keegan Murray. And I don't believe the Kings are going to include Keegan Murray in any trade talks, because I think he's part of your future. I believe, in my opinion, the Kings absolutely need to build this team around Keegan Murray, Keon Ellis, and Domantas Sabonis. 3 guys that you should build this team around, and then see where you go from there. I know there's might be rumors about Malik Monk's future in Sacramento. I know he's a fan favorite, but the Kings have absolutely got to get better if you want to stay relevant and be in the playoff race that they want to be, instead of tearing it down and go full rebuild. So thanks for tuning in to this episode of our Kings related podcast. If you're watching this on YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit that thumbs up, leave a comment down below. Who should be the next point guard of the Sacramento Kings? If you're listening on Apple, Spotify, hit that follow button, rate 5 stars. Be much appreciated. And we're also available wherever else you get your podcasts. Thanks for tuning in. I will see you next time on the Kings related podcast. And as always, go Kings.